Okay, hello, good evening, and welcome to the ByBuick show. It's Monday, and we're going to have another copywriting clinic today. And the patient that we're going to clinicize is me. So there we go. So let me just see if anything might vaguely be happening. I've also lost the windshield from my microphone, so I might be a bit puffy at some time, but hopefully it'll be okay. Does that change when I do that? No, it doesn't. Let me just flip that off, and it's probably going to be a huge buffer. Probably. And then we'll get underway. Wow, this is very slow. Oh dear. Okay. I did start it, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Wow, that's some lag, isn't it? Okay. There we go. Okay, geez. All right. That's not it. There we go. Right, so copywriting clinic. So today, sorry, I shouldn't play with the microphone. Today we're going to do a sales letter for my product, because you haven't told me yours, so I'm just going to pick one of mine. So we could do this the kind of formulaic way. And go and dig out the 13 elements of a sales letter and put them in there. We probably should do that, but I don't really care. But obviously there are elements that need to be in there, like a guarantee, the order button, something to grab their attention, what you actually get, the usual sort of thing. So we could look them up, but I'm not going to. So basically, a sales letter really is a story. And like any story, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's the good news. And we're also going to throw some other bits in there as well, which I'll tell you about in 1 second. And if you think of any story, it's not really AIDA as such. Attention, interest. There's a debate over what the D is. Anyway, desire and action. I've got to use my DPA formula from Copycake XYZ. And to do that, we're going to need to get hook and an angle. And I'll explain about the DPA copywriting method in a second. So, as we say, it's a story. It's got a beginning, middle, and an end. And also we're going to intersperse those, which is the bit I was going to tell you that we're going to do in a minute, with two climaxes. Because if you think of any good kind of Hollywood story, is there an actual drawing tool in this? No. Scribble. There we are. So if you think of any good, Hollywood story, it kind of, climaxes, and then they win the battle, and everything's great, and you just think it's good, and then they have an even bigger climax, and then and then everything's great, and then there's some big climax at the end, and then there's that's our cliffhanger. So that's not very visible, is it? Anyway, let's just thicken that up a bit. Even more than that, really. There we are. So that's a traditional Hollywood thing. So that's kind of what we're doing. We don't need the climax at the end. The climax at the end is then buying it. But we basically that's this peak here and that's this peak here. Because otherwise it's too simple. It's just I had a problem, fixed it. Great, buy it. Not really absorbing enough as a story, so that's why there are two climaxes in it to match the kind of Hollywood peaks in there. Do I need arrows on that? Do you want me to draw arrows on that? I feel like drawing an arrow on that, to be honest. In that kind of mood where I want to draw an arrow, and there it is. Let's even put a thing on the end of it, and let's make it another colour because we can. And same again. That relates to that peak there. Okay, so now it should be super obvious what's going on and why it's exciting and all that kind of stuff. Let's just do that again. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So that's what we need to do. And as I say, each one of these blocks has these three components in it, which is the DPA copywriting method. So let's start. So the first thing is the way that we would do this process normally is basically to have three columns. It doesn't matter if you do the columns or not really, But yeah, but there's 3 columns. Let's get over there. Get over there. Okay, and yeah, because we're coming at this from nowhere. We don't, we're a copywriter. We got a brief. We don't really know what's going on. So getting the features off the client, the specification, what actually is it? That should be easy. How fast does it go? What color is it? How many buttons has it got? Whatever. And then we can turn that into benefits, of the ideal user. Obviously, in that we need to work out who the ideal user is, who we're speaking to, and then that they won't really care about that anyway. So then we turn it into outcomes, which is basically Wi-Fi FM. What's in it for them? And what's what result will they get out of this kind of thing? Actually, I think we did that differently last time. I think we actually did 4 columns. Oops. Because that just brings it home, because most people understand that it's really about the outcome, but that's not really good enough anymore. So really that has to become results. So what's the results? Okay, and that's basically what I want to do, and we can fill in these columns with the product spec. But just before that, I just want to do something new, which is to talk about the common references. Because in order for them to understand this and the result, there's some things that they're going to need to know. And either the person we're talking to knows them, or we're going to have to put that into the story and explain it, or the pre-sale material, or the pre-launch material, or the pre-launch videos, or whatever however you want to look at it. They need to cover these common references if they don't already know them, or if they do already know them, we want to summarise to make sure that they're in their mind and that we're talking about the same kind of ones. So the product I'm going to talk about today is called anytimewebinar.com, and it's basically, hang on, webinar, there we are. It's basically let's put in text here. An automated webinar replayer, okay, on ACID, okay, because it's a lot more than that. But the way we would pigeonhole it, to get a common reference of what on earth are we even talking about. That's what it is. It's not a rubber duck. It's not a pair of socks. It's this, but it's a lot more than that. But explaining the more than that, it takes time, which we probably don't have. So until we work out how to explain that in fewer words, that's what we're just going to run with for the minute. That's what it is. So what would somebody need to know about automated webinars? Well, they're going to need to know about, not surprisingly, this isn't brain surgery, nothing that you don't know already, but they need to know about webinars. And then they also need to know about the advantages and the practicalities and the tricks of automation. Okay, so it's not so easy, is it? We just think anyone would understand this, but now we see all the bits to it. In order to do webinars, they probably understand how to do that in the real world with online seminars. Oops. Okay, and in order for them to do that, they must probably know about in-person, meetings, or that kind of thing. So if they don't understand the power of selling one-to-one, okay, then they're probably not going to understand or want the product. Okay, that's the first thing. And then maybe they're stuck in that, and they need to, go the next stage, in which case it's taking that same principle. I don't know when my voice went up there, but anyway, and doing it, en masse, electronically or digitally, but in the old days it'd have been electronically. Oh, good heavens! There we go. And then they need to know that that at some point it changed to webinars. The difference between online seminars and webinars is probably fairly subtle for most people. But there's a reason why webinars took over, really, and actually there's a historic change in here, which was called Hangouts, and then there's another historical thing in here now, which is the new historical, which I guess we call the future or current or something, which is live streams. So all these things are interconnected. And so that's about it, really. So the question is who are we talking to? Is it people who are familiar with webinar technology, or are they kind of new to the whole concept of taking an in-person meeting online and doing it en masse, and making it an online seminars? Are they? I guess there's another historical thing in here, which is tele-seminars, which were stuck on the phone, and they're still very popular, actually. There's no visuals, but they're very popular, and some people have found a way to do visuals with them, which kind of make it like a webinar, but it's not. It's different. It's a different feel to it, but it's more like getting on a phone call. It's a very different feel to any of the others, really. So it's a very interesting kind of new, or not even new, but a very interesting kind of version. But they have to understand that basically people talking to each other is how powerful that is, and then making it mass, and then adding in the webinar element to it, or the webinar platform element to it, I should say, I guess, which is basically I guess we would say it's slightly more involvement, I guess we might leave it at that for the minute. There's probably some other good reasons why that happens, but but basically because the webinars added text chat and presenter mode, and where the person can actually come on and talk, and you can see them as well, so the audience can become part of the show, kind of thing. That's way more common with webinars than it was with online seminars. So online seminars were more of a presentation, and webinars should be more of an interaction, involving the audience. But a lot of people don't do it like that. They just present and then do an FAQ at the end, which is in itself a summary of all the questions and not even the individual questions. So it's still kind of a presentation, but disguised as to be the audience's questions, but really they're probably the presenter's questions answered by the presenter in a presentation, because he summarizes it, because he can't possibly answer all the questions that are coming in. So it seems legitimate. So that's that. And then Hangouts and live streams were supposed to make it far more much higher involvement, really, basically. And then automation is now all of that, but without you needing to be there, or not to be there as much anyway, which is pretty weird when you think about it, but there we go. Let's make that pink. So this is kind of what my thing does, although, you know, again, I guess, for a point of history or whatever, you know, mine is, for the moment, let's just call it next generation automation. Because obviously when you automate it, you don't really have the involvement. So what mine thing does is it puts the involvement back in, is one of the things it does simplistically. Anyway, I'll explain what all that means in a minute, as soon as I've learned to spell involvement. There we go. So that's what they need to know. So, but the main thing is that they need to know that talking one-on-one is, you know, the most effective thing, and then being able to do it en masse because of technology, and then being able to involve the audience a lot more, and then all the new ways that we can do it. So they're the premises that we need to, you know, to do, and depending where, you know, where they come in, where we, you know, what kind of stage we think they're at, then you know, that's you know, what we need to include in the sales page as part of the story. But there's also something else you know, happening here, which is kind of the levels. So there's the yeah, there's the kind of the don't knows, you know, who don't know anything about this kind of stuff. There's the newbies who are just learning. Yeah, there's people who have researched it but maybe never done it, or not done it, you know, a lot. There are people who have done it and failed, so they're going to be a bit jaded, and they need you know, putting their confidence back. And there's people who've done it and succeeded, and really they're trying to grow. Okay, that's what they want to do. They want, even, you know, to multiply their success up even more. Okay, let me just do that. Yeah, okay. So all these things are going on, you know, at once, and we need to decide where in the chain is, you know, who we're speaking to, you know, where in the chain. Yeah, and when we're working out the, you know, the outcomes and results, then, you know, that's probably going to affect those. And the features are going to be fairly straightforward, but yeah, but from then on, it's probably going to be different depending on who we're talking to. So I suppose we'd better start with a couple of facts. So you know, it is automated webinars. Okay, they can use any video source. They can use any live chat kind of component to put the liveness back in. It makes it an event, but yeah, makes it a friendly event because it is you know, anytime. So unlike automation where it tries to fake the thing, you know, it's confessing to what it is, if you like, and that makes it more congruent immediately because you're telling the truth. And the reason why it's anytime is it's because it's there for their convenience. It means they don't have to wait for a slot, because there is no need for there to be slots. But we do get a let's call it a pre-delay, you know, to still make it an event and to get their focus. Okay, so that's some of the things we need to get across in the copy, and for me to explain that better, because that probably sounds weak to you at the moment. But that's what we want, you know, to achieve. There's the dots again. There we go. Something like that. So you know, the main thing is it's you know, triple kind of technology. We won't call it triple technology because that sounds like bullshit. But basically what we're doing is we're saying, it's webinars meets automations meets live interaction again. Plus we maintain, the event. So that wasn't small enough. Hopefully that's big enough for you to read. So it's Quadratech, isn't it? Okay, so we're combining these three things together, to make something, new. So have I missed any? The other thing is it's you host it, so you keep all of the branding basically. So that's quite important. It's not like you're sending them to YouTube. You can actually, install the widget on your site, and in fact, I need to put that. So it's embed code or WordPress plugin. I'm going to call it widget then, but so that's it. So you embed one line of code, or use the WordPress plugin, and you do that on your own domain name. So you keep all the branding. So it's not like you're sending to YouTube or anywhere else. It's like that. The other things that are important is it's as frictionless as it can be, in the sense that they can just turn up and watch it. It's up to you if you want to get them to opt in before they do that, or if you just want to send them and let them see the thing. So that's that. So I won't go through the benefits one by one yet. We'll just briefly discuss the outcome of it generally. The important things here is that it's frictionless, engaging, it's congruent, with no fake scarcity or anything like that. It's convenient for the audience. I missed one somewhere. It's interactive. In fact, it's live interactive. And the don't really want to call it presentation, but I'll call it presentation. Can be perfect because it's pre-recorded. Okay, the presentation is pre-recorded, but the live chat and question answering and FAQ and all that sort of thing is live and absolutely interactive, because you're not having to worry about the presentation. You won't interrupt yourself looking at the thing go ping, and because it's recorded, you carry on doing the perfect presentation, and then when people do ask questions and it goes ping, you can actually answer them without ruining the whole webinar and talking to somebody about some abstract thing that that they haven't got in their head, and give maximum value in the live part of it. And obviously that needn't be you, it could be your VA, it could be an automated answer bot. I've got working on one of those to include in this. There are probably some out there already, so you could use a trigger word, kind of Autobot or an FAQ kind of thing. And there we go. I don't know if that's all it or not, but it's basically frictionless, engaging, it's congruent, it's convenient. There's a live interactive presentation, and I forgot to finish that sentence. And a perfect video, presentation. There we are. Yeah. What's probably important at this point is to work out what the result of all that is. Because this means, basically that they can put on engaging webinars on autopilot. Yeah, basically. What did we make that? 24? Yeah. Let me just do that. So, yeah, so what's the outcome, of all of this? So I'm thinking, this is live, I haven't rehearsed it, I haven't scripted it, I'm just working it out in my head now. That is why I'm dithering. I'm making lots of spelling mistakes. Yeah, so that's kind of the bottom line of that. Okay, so this lets them do that, basically, and we could find better ways of explaining that and describing it and making it even more desirable. But yeah, that's essentially, in layman's terms, lift speech, what it does. So the result of that, though, is obviously it's aimed at getting more sales. It's certainly at deepening the relationship with the clients. It's certainly about demonstrating authority and stuff, because they're watching your presentation, and it's really about giving value to the audience and enabling them, enabling their goals, really. Okay, and that's essentially it. But yeah, ultimately, it's about getting them more sales. If we didn't get them more sales, it wouldn't be worth, doing, would it? Really, basically. So ultimately, it's about that. But it achieves that because of these other things, down here, really. And it gives them that one down as well. It gives them a mechanism, a platform, or a I don't know the word then. A tool, or whatever you want to describe it as, to actually do this, to deliver it. Okay, and because it's automated, it lets them do this in scale, or on scale, as I've put there, being slightly French for a second. On scale. And that's the thing, because they can do this one-to-one, on the phone. And as we said, originally, that's probably the most effective thing, because it's one-to-one. But because now with technology we can make it mass, and then mass took the personality out of it, and now we put the personality of it back in, but by making this, more interactive, and also it just feels more. I know it's an odd thing to say, but it feels like I don't know if I was going to say broadcasting or TV, but it feels like TV broadcasting. It's not just making a video. It doesn't feel like it's a video. It's hard to pinpoint why that is, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel like a video. So obviously you could just put a video up and say watch it whenever you like, but then it's not an event. But even if you made it an event with the automated webinars, the traditional kind of book a time slot kind of thing, then that's fake scarcity, and most people probably don't buy into that, and it doesn't really help the experience. But then using my one with the anytime webinar, it's congruent and it's transparent, and it's actually better because it is actually, or can actually have the live interaction in with it, or the the kind of answer bot thing, or even just connecting them to you with with an email or a form or something like that. At least it means that you can follow up afterwards. And again, although you could do that with a video, it doesn't feel the same as with this, because this feels like a webinar platform. This feels like in fact, it takes it back really. It makes it feel like it's an online seminar, which is a lot more personal. So that's the thing really. So let's just take Nobby here and do that. There we go. So we need to think. So we're on our first point here, which is the beginning. Did I do this? Yeah, I'm not sure if I did. Anyway, the beginning is where we need to build the desire, set the scene, build the desire, make them want it. Then we can show them the problem that happens, and how it's going to stop us doing what we need to do. The them and us and all that kind of stuff. Then there's the discovery of whatever form it is. The superhuman, superhero powers, or the flu virus that kills the alien invasion. Whatever it is, there's some kind of discovery. Or even if it's just the person, working out how to do it. Then there's another climax where there's another problem where, although that works and it gets them so far, there's some other roadblock in the way. And then, as part of that climax, there needs to be the solution as well. Okay, and then it ends, basically with, the call to action, which is them, joining in and doing it. Okay, so we have to start at the beginning, strangely. I'll take that one over as well. Yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. Okay, won't worry about the fact that it's all gone wibbly. So I guess to do that, I need to know who I'm talking to. So we have to go back here. And the low-hanging fruit is probably going to be these people. But we could be more ambitious and actually go for these people, because people who are into this are going to be much more, much more, doing it now and trying, new things. If they're willing to try this kind of stuff, then, then we know that they're, willing to try, new things. So, that would put them in good stead for using our thing. So we might do, pick on people, who are into hangouts and live streams. So let's just make a note of that. Okay, and then we need to decide who we're talking to. So it could be, we could do it upbeat and appeal to people who just want to scale, or we could do it, for these people who have tried it and maybe not done so well, or actually failed. So the short answer to that is that we're going to end up needing to do both, probably in different sales letters, because the way we're kind of going to target these two people is probably going to be different. So there we go. So let's start with the people who have failed, and then we'll go on to the people who have succeeded. Okay, although I may start actually with the people who have, that's where in there, succeeded. Well, I did not know I typed that. Anyway, because they're going to be optimistic and successful and ready to to go to the next level. So if they're ready to go to the next level, okay. So if these are the succeeders, what they're looking for is to scale. Which basically means automation and proficiency. Okay, that also means greater reach, which means more sales, but it also means better conversion, because this whole kind of thing will let them have a deeper connection with the audience. Okay, so that's one thing. But mainly the angle here is probably that they're looking to scale. That's the real kind of thing. And what else do we need to take from here? Yeah, so we've got, which is an important one. We've got the pride and excitement and ego and whatever else you want to call it. And the human connection, even, if we want to do it on a more hippie level, because I'm a hippie, I guess, is that it feels like TV. So that's a lot more exciting than thinking you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. So it feels like you're on TV. Basically, we also want to make sure that we make them realise that that they can give a perfect presentation, plus getting maximum one-to-one engagement, basically. Because of the way it does the live element of the anytime webinar. So that's the things that spring to my mind. I think we've covered all those otherwise. And then we would go back to newbies, people who've done it and failed, and work out what their problem is. So we're going to have to put that in. So the succeeders are all about scale. Okay, whereas the people who failed are probably about confidence. Okay, so just for the sake of it, I'm just going to copy that over to here. Okay, and this is going to be really about confidence and new hope. Okay, now they probably need to know about the scale as well, but that's not not to the same degree at all. If we can get them past the give them new hope, then we've kind of done our job, and we don't even need to talk about the scale, because they're just going to be pleased that anything's going to work, or that this is going to work for them, for once, whereas other things haven't worked. So once we give them that confidence and new hope, then they don't, they're not totally bothered about the fact they can scale, not at this moment. So that just needs to be a seed idea for these people. Whereas in this one, it's very much a the motivator. Okay. So that's really our motivator mechanism. Both of them want to do it for these other reasons. I don't think there's anything much different about that other than that. So I think that'll do. So that's what we need to get across in the at the very start of our story. Okay. We could physically do it in a number of ways. We could actually, do a Bob and Ted kind of story, an actual story, or it could be a case study, or it could be a, kind of a dream walkthrough, or anything like that. What we need to do. So anyway, beginning, that's the word I'm looking for. Good heavens. Right. So the beginning of the successor story. Okay. So should we do it down that way? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it that way. Okay, so we want to get desire into this thing. So what's going to be that's the sexy thing there. That's the kind of common sense logic kind of thing. Could go in on the automation angle, and we could go on the greater reach angle, and we could just go on the new technology angle. So I just trying to think what the best or the most engaging and gripping one of those is going to be. What we really want here is not the new tech one, but is like a case study or an industry fact or something like that. Okay, so we could go in with the popularity and get the stats of of live streams, how many live streams have been done. So X thousand live streams per minute or whatever it is. That's not, I've plucked that out of the air. I don't know what it is at the moment. Per hour live streams, and people having success with that. Okay, so we want to find an example of that, and it could be our example, it could be somebody else's example, or a big corporate's example, or anything we can find that's true, that we can use it kind of with I can't say that now, with reflected glory, in that somebody's having success with it. So that implies we're not stating it categorically, but that implies that they're going to have success, similar success, or some kind of success with ours. So ideally what we want to do is we want to start with that, with some sort of figure. It could be buyout news or anything like that. Google buys a live stream company, or Twitch expands, or anything anything like that. Okay, so that's our first hook. So that basically showing that the industry is having success with this kind of thing. So we've really gone in kind of backwards. We've gone in with the proof, but the proof is also part of the desire. So that's why it's working in this case. Then as we did in the story, then we're going to basically show the problem, which is it's 1-to-1, and you have to be there. So it's a massive time commitment. And then we might explain the status quo, in that the status quo is basically fake and non-congruent, and that causes its own issues. And then we can explain our discovery, okay, of the anytime algorithm or model, or whatever we're going to call it in a minute. And then then that's that. And then we might have, so that's kind of climax one, really. Is that it's fake and non-congruent, and people don't turn up, and and that kind of stuff. The discovery of the anytime algorithm. Then we have climax 2. Ooh. Room here again. Okay, then we have climax 2 basically, which is the next set of problems, and that might be well, that could be the people turning up, waiting for the replay, knowing it's a pitch, and knowing that something was made then, turn up, waiting for the replay, but knowing it's a pitch, and can't remember the other one. Anyway, that'll do. So maybe we take that one out and use that as climax 2 for the minute. Okay, and then when we've sorted that out, then basically we do the close. Okay, so that's the start of our idea for this. I'm kind of running out of time here. We've kind of done some of them in one go, but let's just try and at least get one line of code, not line of code, one line of a copy out of this. Okay. And we would go back and do the heading last. I would do the heading last because we don't, the heading has to be a summary of what we actually said, and we don't know what we've said yet, and we don't know what we're going to say yet, so we can't do the heading. So we'll go back and do the heading later. Let's just look at this one again. Okay, so I don't have the figure to hand, unfortunately, so I could put in a placeholder for now, I guess. Or we could just kind of bypass that and just go, straight in. Summary out the problems and all the other stuff in one go, and then we can come back and prove it. So wouldn't it be great if you could scale your webinars by putting them on autopilot, but increasing, we probably won't say increasing conversions because that's very kind of geeky and salesy, but that's the intent of what we need to say anyway. What else have I written there? Right, autopilot, increasing conversions because of a new additional ingredient. Okay, so wouldn't it be great if you could scale your webinars by putting them on autopilot but increasing conversions because of a new additional ingredient? Now that's not great, but it's not terrible, because remember we're talking to successful people who've done it. So they're already successful, they know webinars work, they know how to use the one-to-one element of it. They're looking to to scale because that's where they're at. They're looking for the next level. They're using live streams and basically live streams because that's the the latest tech. So we know that they're into the latest tech and that they're probably having success with it. And we've almost said, what it does. We haven't explained why it does it, how it does it, or exactly what the benefit of it is, but the benefit's implied because they know that they want to scale their webinars. They probably know that there's some issues with putting things on autopilot, and they're certainly probably not expecting us to say, increasing conversions, there. So that's all good. So that's not a bad first line. It gives us something, a framework to start with, and then we want to basically explain. Basically at this point, we need to prove it. Okay, so this has kind of got desire in it already because they're successful already. The new tech adopter. They're using Hangouts and they're succeeding, and all that. But if they're doing Hangouts, it's live, it's time intensive. And just say, if you just go back in here, bring back all of your time by removing the time intensity needs of Hangouts. Now that's a mouthful and geeky and horrible, so that's not copy, but that's what I'm trying to say there. So I need to go back when I'm not wasting your time by working out how to say that, but that's what I want to say. Okay, so what I'm doing is I've offered them the honey really, and I'm now giving them a huge benefit, and now I just need to prove that what I've said is true. So now we can just go into the kind of status quo thing. I don't mean the rock band, I mean the default industry thingy. So just that basically that automated webinars feel fake. And also we haven't even covered the thing about webinars, and people waiting for the pitch. But maybe we won't do that here. Maybe that'll be a thing for later. But I'll just put that little note in for myself. Feel fake, and this doesn't. Because of the new formula it's born from. Okay, I could say based from, but I want it to be a bit more kind of mysterious, arty, and ecological, and almost alien, about it in that way. So I think we're kind of out of time there. It's a shame because we haven't really got that far. We've got to start. It's not great, but it's a start. And so just in terms of the DPA thing, even in each sentence we can use put the DPA in it. So have we got desire in this? Well, we have, because we're saying that they can scale and get about conversions. So they probably want those things. So now we put them on the table. So there's the desire. Now the proof. The proof isn't given yet, but it's intimated with the new additional ingredient. And then the action is really to read the next sentence. But what we're encouraging them to do is to put their webinars on autopilot in a new way. Actually, we might even say that in a new way. Okay, because again, in a new way implies that something has changed, and whatever their thoughts of what used to happen, maybe that's different now, because Oh, I'll put that in there. Because something's happened, and then we're going to explain at some point, what this new ingredient is, or element, whichever word we're going to use, and then of course we need to prove it. Okay, which is basically let them see it in action, really. Okay. Okay, so that's all we've got time for at the moment, really. But hopefully you can see, what's happening. But we've used our old friend of turning features into benefits and outcomes into results, which I've mentioned on other shows. We've talked about, how we're going to do this as a story and what the elements of the story have. We've talked about the kind of elements in the copy, which is the DPA copywriting system. We'll talk more about that next time. We've looked at the targeting, who we're actually talking to, and we're going to talk differently depending on who they are. And I've aimed at a particular point in the in the chain, and we've got the kind of an outline there, and now we're kind of making this into more detailed version of it here. So that's it. So I shall see you next time. Bye for now. Bye bye. Bye bye.